Hello and welcome back to Coaching with Impact. Today's episode is for every coach who's ever poured their heart into their content only to hear crickets. And if you've been wondering how to attract clients without being salesy or overwhelmed, well, I have a special guest here today. Her name is Hailey Rowe, and we're going to talk all about freebies and all around this topic. And basically, she's a marketing and sales coach, behavioral change specialist, and the creator of the freebie funnel formula. So I'm really excited to dive deeper into this as you are the expert and you've helped a lot of health and life coaches go from getting invisible to in demand using more authentic strategies that really convert, right? So, welcome to this episode, Haley.
You. I'm so excited to be here with you.
I really I've never really talked about freebies or any of that stuff with any other experts on the show yet. So I'm really, really curious to know all of the different strategies and around more about your freebie funnel formula. But before we
Mhm.
begin, I'd really just love to talk a little bit more about your background, how you got started, why you to talk about this, and a little bit more of your experience in that.
Yeah, definitely. So I originally got into entrepreneurship sort of when I was in high school. I was selling fitness DVDs, which was my first stab at learning sales, and it was kind of funny. And then I started getting into the coaching world. I got some coaching certifications. I got kind of interested in personal development, and I ended up getting my bachelor's degree in entrepreneurship. And then I started to work in business development and marketing for wellness startups in Los Angeles. And I loved it at the time. It was really a learning curve as far as seeing how startups just have to figure things out very quickly and it can't be perfect. And you just kind of have to, learn copywriting, learn sales, learn marketing and get it done. And I felt like as a fresh college grad, I was doing things that maybe I didn't feel totally qualified to do, but they just needed help. They were moving fast. So I got to be a part of that and it was a lot of fun. But then, I always wanted to have my own business and I kept telling myself, I'm not ready yet. And maybe any listeners can relate, like just thinking there's going to be a perfect time. And I was just working long hours. So I kept putting my own business on the back burner. And then in 2017, one of the companies I worked for, because it was a wellness company and had to get a certain round of approvals to be able to open, there was some unforeseen delays and the entire team was let go. And so I ended up at that point deciding, you know what, I really am passionate about helping wellness entrepreneurs, helping coaches, helping people in this space that they want to help others be better. But what they don't realize when they sign up for this is that they're going to have to learn sales and marketing and entrepreneurship. And a lot of times that really throws them off. And so I wanted to help that group with their marketing, with their sales. And so that's how I started coaching coaches and doing what I do now. And when it comes to funnels and email marketing, I will say there was a very exciting time in my business when I had built my list up to a point where I started getting sales without the labor that most people are doing right now in the beginning of their business. Like I was like, oh my gosh, I went away for a weekend and saw when I came back there were sales in my inbox. And there was like it was like a moment in my business because you work so hard and I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work. I don't know if I'm just gonna create these sales emails and hope for the best. And I left my laptop at home and then I came back and I was like, whoa, okay, we're getting somewhere. And that's kind of when I learned the power of email marketing and wanted to help other people use that because it is a great tool in your business.
That's so cool how you kind of just discovered it as you grew your business and like this happened for you. And it's based on your background, based on everything that you've done for all of these different companies that you've worked with. Over time, you started to get more experience in the field and then experimented it for yourself. So you had to know copywriting a little bit more, right? Did you take courses for that? Like, is there something that you had to learn to
Yeah.
be able to develop this?
It was a lot of hands-on experience and, auditing websites and reading and, more so educating myself on it, honestly. But, I did major in entrepreneurship, so we had marketing classes and things like that. But a lot of it just came from, okay, let's test this. Let's see how the open rates go. Let's see how many clicks we get and see what works. And a lot of it was through trial and error. And that's a big thing that I tell people is like, it's fine if you launch something and it doesn't work. You get information to know what to try next time or what not to try or what people respond to or what they don't. So a lot of it was, just through that good old trial and error.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's what entrepreneurship is, right? You're always learning, you're always pivoting and trying to see what works best, but also knowing the numbers. Like a lot of people actually don't look at the numbers, and that's I agree. I'm one of those people who don't look enough at the numbers. So it's good that you emphasize on that, how you just like pivoted and you looked at everything and tweaked. So going back to actually the freebie itself and talking more about that specifically, what are some common mistakes that you see coaches making when it comes to like freebies and creating lead magnets?
Yeah. So first, let's just highlight what a lead magnet or freebie is for anybody who's a little bit new to it. In my opinion, and based on what I do with clients, it's something where you're going to give a quick win up front, a valuable thing up front to build trust, to help someone jumpstart their journey. And it's something where you're going to require their email address and name in exchange to get the free gift. So a common mistake that I see when people are coming up with what should be my lead magnet or what should be my freebie is they think that just because it's free, that they don't have to really promote it, that they don't have to give it a good title, that it doesn't have to be that specific, or they worry about giving too much away and then they make kind of a bad freebie that's not that useful. And so I think it's really important to pick something that's a micro quick win that's specific and meets your target audience where they're at on their journey. So for example, what happened when I started my business, one of my very first freebies, because I knew a lot of the clients who came to me, their first step or what they believed should be their first step on their business journey was, I got to figure out my target audience. I got to figure out my niche. I got to figure out my message. I don't know what my message is. And it was holding them up from any future steps. And so my first lead magnet was a message mastery cheat sheet in class and an Instagram bio checklist to know how do you communicate your message in your Instagram bio. And it was really a great freebie because it was specific. I wasn't saying, let's solve all your business problems in this gigantic 200-page ebook. It was like, let's do the first doable thing that you need that you feel is holding you up the most and focus there. It's the same thing if you're a wellness coach, you're not going to give like an entire holistic health ebook or guide or webinar this 2 hours. It's like, it might be, I had a client who was an overeating coach and she did 4 steps to use tonight to conquer nighttime overeating because her people really struggled with overeating and stress eating after the kids went to bed and all that kind of stuff. So make sure it's micro focused. Make sure you give it a juicy title. So again, not this is my free health guide. Well, what is the outcome the free health guide helps with? What are they going to get from it? What are they going to be able to know, do, etc.? And then the other thing is when you're selling your freebie on a landing page, like a page where you want people to opt in for it, make sure that you're listing like, why would people want this guide? And you can list that as bullet points. But where I see people mess up is they say, just get this information to learn how to blah, blah, blah. And it's so boring, right? Versus if like I say, get this free guide, 3-step guide. Step 3 is what my client used to get a 12K sale recently. Suddenly it's like, ooh, what's step 3? I need to sign up and find out, right? The other thing is you could create some urgency around it if you wanted to. So sometimes people just say, oh, get the guide whenever, use it whenever. But maybe it's a seasonal thing, like maybe it's something related to summer and they will want to do it right now as opposed to later. Or maybe you're only going to give 120 copies of this away and after that it's going away or it's turning into a paid program or something. So little things like that I think are some. And then the last thing is sometimes people just don't know how to set up an email opt-in, and so they just put the like link to their freebie in their bio as like a Google Doc or a Canva doc or something. And that's like, but we're not gathering the emails. So we got to figure that out. So if you need help with that, obviously FIFA can help you or I can help you, but you got to get that set up so that you're not wasting your hard effort, just sharing a Canva link to your free guide in your bio.
Yeah, I've actually seen that a couple of times. A lot of newbies do that, but it's because a lot of them are overwhelmed by the tech that's involved in it. And I can see how people can be overwhelmed by it, but I love how you mentioned like the tip, especially about, let's say, like sparking that curiosity, like look at number 3 because this is what's going to be in the inbox to achieve a specific outcome, right? So I love that you mentioned specifically about that, how you spark that interest in people to be able to want to even grab it in the first place. Because everybody is so easy to get caught up in everything that is, that's on the internet and whatnot. So how can we grab people's attention as quickly as possible, but also give that information, what they're going to get after they opt in? So the
Yeah.
tech part, I mentioned a little bit about that. That's where I feel a lot of people hold themselves back. So what is one thing that you can say that, like a tip that you can tell coaches who can avoid that overwhelm and tech paralysis that often comes with setting up these types of funnels or lead magnets?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing is know that you don't need an entire elaborate, 12 email funnel to start with. Really, all you need is a free email opt-in site that you could use like MailerLite or MailChimp. And those will have tons of YouTube tutorials about how to set up your first landing page, how to set up your first email list, how to set up an email opt-in form for your email list. And that's where a lot of my clients start sometimes because they want something doable and they'll set up one automated welcome email and then we'll build a funnel later on, or they'll send out the follow-ups via a newsletter instead of an automated funnel the very first time just to see what their audience responds to. So there's I think what we need to do, just like with anything in entrepreneurship, is what's the minimum baseline you can use to get by and to just at least benefit by getting email addresses? And that is just usually signing up for a free system like MailChimp or MailerLite. Both have paid versions, and setting up a email opt-in form, an email list, an email landing page with a form on it, and using that first. And eventually, if you long-term want a one-stop shop website that can both host your email list and host your courses and give you, an affiliate program and stuff like that, there are systems out there that you could use. And so if you're going to want to get into that soon, you could just start with one of those systems. But if you don't, if you're just I just want to get my first 1,000 subscribers or something and then figure out what I want to do from there, those sites, MailChimp, MailerLite, are pretty easy. And the last thing I would say is sometimes it's worth getting someone to do it, set it up for you. So if you have a web designer like you, FIFA, and they're just hiring you to do their homepage and you can incorporate their email opt-in in there, great. I know for my clients, I've added that as a service. They want me to set up their funnel. I don't do website design, obviously, but if they want a landing page and, stuff like that, that's been a thing that has saved them probably 12 hours because it is tedious the first time you're learning it, right? And the last, just one little mindset shift I want to share is don't go into it thinking this is just over my head. I'm just not a tech person. Stop labeling yourself that way because then your brain shuts down immediately to any tutorial, to anything anyone tells you, because you're just automatically nope, my brain doesn't do that. And I used to do that with investing advice. If you've ever seen those people who trade options and do stocks and all that kind of stuff, I was interested in learning it for a while, but I was well, I just this is not how my brain works. And so I listened to anything they would say. And then of course I wasn't doing it. Right. But when I opened up to hold on, I'm capable of learning this. There's easy examples. There's videos of trading for dummies. And so I started to open up to that and use my own analogies and break it down in my own language and stuff like that. And then I finally was able to feel more. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't really do that much, but it made me more confident, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point you brought up. It's the mindset of just even switching that on and being open to it that will really help you to get get past and really just help set it up. But of course, like you said, if you're not a tech person and you've had issues already in the past, and also you're busy in general, just a busy person, then just hire somebody to do it and set it up for you and get that, because that's the best way to really build trust with somebody over time and nurture, right? Because you mentioned email sequences, you mentioned funnels, like those are more of the advanced stuff, and a lot of people get overwhelmed with everything that's involved. So starting off with a freebie, just getting it out there, but being able to capture emails is really important, and not just like putting it out there for people to easily access without giving their emails.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So when it comes to, because I know that there's so many different ways of building a lead magnet or a freebie of some sort, and a lot of people, the question they usually ask is like, what am I supposed to provide that won't be like something that they should pay for? So how do
Mm,
you differentiate between those two? Like, how do you come up with something that
yeah.
can be given away for free?
That's a great question. So a lot of people, so what we want is your freebie to be able to be linked to your paid offer. So in other words, mine might be that free message mastery cheat sheet in class, but what I'm able to do in that class is say, this is step one of the entire business and marketing process. Like, yeah, we need to know who you're talking to, but now how are you going to go talk to those people? How are you going to send traffic to this new message that you've created? And that is what we do in the inner circle. And then you're able to link it in. So you want your freebie to be like, almost like, think of your program as a cake, and your freebie is kind of like a slice of the cake, or a little taste or appetizer or something, or the milk to go with the cake. But it's not the whole cake, right? Or you're creating desire or a gap. So you're helping them with something, but you're also helping them see that now the gaps they need to fill moving forward, and giving them clarity on that so they know your program helps with those gaps. And I think a lot of people think, oh, it has to be a PDF or something, but your freebie could be delivered as a quiz. Like, some people do quizzes to say, which relationship attachment style do you have? And if you're a relationship coach, you could say, well, if you have this one, we work with clients to help them with blah, 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 and how you benefit that or whatever. So it could be a quiz, it could be a cheat sheet or a checklist or a grocery list. Like, it could be something they use as a tool. It could be a template. Like for me, I have a partnership pitch template freebie for people who are trying to like do partnerships, stuff like that. So it doesn't, or it could be an audio, it could be a video training. It doesn't have to be an ebook. It doesn't have to, like, I think a lot of people just think it has to be a certain way. And your freebie could be whatever way you feel you need to deliver it to get them the micro win and result.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned there's different types of freebies, because, yeah, it really, a lot of people start off with PDFs. I would say they, let's say, or a checklist of some sort, but you also want to know that the person that is opting into this freebie, like they want to get as much value as possible, and to be able to build that trust with you, you need to be able to provide the value in some way that helps them, and like you said, gives that quick win, right? So
Yeah.
whenever
Yeah.
your, I guess your favorite way of providing that information or delivering the information to somebody would be that first step that they would take to create it, right?
Yeah, and one other thing about differentiation is, if you ever wanted to do a live freebie, like it's a 1 day workshop, it's a 3 day event, it's something that also has community. That's a really great way to make your freebie more interactive and more fun and make people want to show up. Because how often have we signed up for a freebie, it gets to our inbox, we'll be like, I can deal with it later. I'll open it later. I got the worksheet. I'll do the worksheet later. Right. But if it's like, oh no, there's a 3 day community with it, or you can come ask questions about it tomorrow, suddenly there's more urgency to take action on it. And it's even better if you can say, like, even if you've already tried whatever they've tried, or you could add another differentiator, like, we're going to do this 3 day event to help you do X, Y, and Z without whatever they don't want to do.
Mm.
Right? So try to think about, if you are going to have a freebie, what could be that level up to it or differentiator that makes it more fun, or has more community, or makes it more personalized, or makes it more time sensitive.
And one thing that I see a lot of people doing are challenges. That could also be something that you could do as a freebie, but also as a paid thing too, right?
Yeah.
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 So challenges, I guess challenges involve a lot of that community aspect of it for that accountability. So
Right.
yeah, understanding what you want to do and what your capacity is as well when it comes to planning your freebie. Because I know with a group, like with a challenge, for example, having that community can take a little more effort on your part as well to manage the community if there's a lot of people coming in, but also just being able to put time aside and be able to nurture your community in that way could also take time in your day as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we talked about all the different things that you can come up as freebies. And we tapped a little bit into funnels, but we didn't entirely go into it too deep because I don't want it to go way over people's head. But at what point in time do you think having a funnel is actually something that people should integrate as part of the next step of having a freebie?
Yeah. Well, once you have a freebie and once you have your automated welcome email that delivers the freebie when people opt in, then it's time to start thinking about what's going to be the follow-up system that is going to nurture them more, as well as let them know what the next step is. Is it to book a call with you? Is it to come to a sales webinar? Is it to check out your offer? What happens after the freebie and after they get that quick win? And that is what a funnel is. This is something that can be kind of like developed first in a Google Doc or Word doc or something where you lay out, okay, maybe day 2, I'm going to ask a question to see if they engage with me and see how the freebie went for them. Then maybe day 3, I'm going to nurture them and educate them on like one of the biggest challenges people have with going beyond the freebie or using the freebie or whatever, and then how they could solve that and how they can solve that with my system and my program, and that they should book a call or whatever. So this is something where, like, at what point, it's more so when do you want to automate the follow-ups instead of have to manually do it? And sometimes we have to slow down to speed up, and it's worth it. Other times when you have just 5 leads and you're getting like 2 leads a month, like maybe it's not time. Like maybe you don't need to stress about that. Maybe you just need to start focusing first on getting a couple more people and nurturing them personally. And you have the luxury of time right now to personally engage with these people. So if that's the case, you may not need to worry about it. But if you do want to have systems in your business and you do want this to be a thing that you can use as your main asset and strategy and place to drive people, you will want a funnel, and it may be time to slow down to speed up.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear the difference in how you even decide when to even have the funnel. Because a lot of people they think, okay, we have that set up, we have the email automation. Now what's next? What's next? But you kind of have to think back and look at what is working like right now and seeing, okay, do I have to drive more traffic to this freebie in the first place? So another aspect to that is like knowing how to promote your freebie. So I kind of want to dive a little deeper into that. Like, I know you teach about marketing as well, right? And lead gen. How do you drive traffic to your freebie and in what ways do you do it?
Yeah. So this is something you're going to be promoting ongoing in different ways for the rest of your business life, right? So it's something where you want it in the obvious places. Like obviously you're going to want it on your website. Maybe you have a pop-up on your website where people can opt in. You're going to want to share it when you're on a podcast and they say, where can people connect with you and find you? You're going to want to offer your free gift. You're going to want to offer it in a pinned post on your Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, so that it's one of the first things people see. And you're going to want to have your link in your bios, these different platforms, and maybe even a cover photo, for example, on your LinkedIn that's promoting your freebie, or your Facebook, same thing. So it's more like, first look at the low hanging fruit. Like, is it in the obvious places? Like if somebody came to my social media profile, would they be able to easily find my freebie or hear me talking about my freebie? The other thing is you're going to want to talk about your freebie. So if you make, let's say you're doing a live or a video or something, and you're talking about a topic, and naturally you can weave in your freebie and be like, by the way, I have a free guide about this. It's taking you through blah, blah, blah. And you can grab it at blank. That's a great thing. If you have your own podcast, in every episode on my podcast, I'll shout out one of my freebies in like a little ad. right? So getting the word out consistently through your content is a great idea. And then same thing with if you host local events at the end, making sure you're promoting your freebie or getting an email sign up list around the room or whatever. But that can be a great way to promote it as well. And the last thing I'll say, which we won't go into too deep because it's could be a 2-hour conversation, is collaborations and partnerships. That's the best way to grow your email list. Doing freebie swaps with somebody else who you guys are going to share each other's freebie and cross promote, things like that. So that could be a whole thing, but that's a good place to start.
Definitely worth a mention, yeah, with the whole freebie swap thing. But yeah, partnerships, strategic collaborations, any way where you can leverage other people's audiences to build your own is always a great way to promote your freebie. And I know there's also like the mindset that plays around with promoting your freebie and whatnot. So, like, what can you say in terms of that? Like, what role does mindset play in confidently putting out and promoting this freebie?
Yeah. So a lot of people who are new to marketing and business think, oh my gosh, I'm so annoying if I talk about this more than once, or people don't want to hear about this. And in business, you just have to treat it as if you were it's a separate entity from you. Like think about influencers. When they do brand deals, they're not like, oh, I can't talk about this brand again. Like I'm going to annoy people. It's like, no, that I'm getting paid by this brand to promote their product. In your own business, it's you promoting your own product, which is probably why you feel weird about it because it's you and you. But it is still like if you hired a marketer on your team, they'd have no problem talking about your freebie every day. And so it's your job to show up and talk about your freebie and get it out there to help people because first of all, people need to hear things like 7 to 77 times before they're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get this freebie or I know what so and so does. And second of all, people need touch points. Just because you feel like you've talked about it 45 times, not everyone's seeing every time you talk about it. Most people are not. Most people are not paying attention to you at all. So that's refreshing, right? Whenever I hear people get worried about that, I'm like, no one's like, think of it like no one's paying attention to you. So don't worry about it. And then I feel like they kind of feel better about it. So that is and there will be people paying attention if you're putting out good content, but it helps me to think of it that way because then I'm like, oh, obviously they don't know. I have to tell them again about it.
Yeah, I love that you put that into perspective and just like kind of putting it as like a separate entity. And yeah, it's true. We have to get out of our own heads, basically. And you are not the center of the world. So yeah, there's definitely there you have to through repetition you can promote your freebie and just shifting your mindset around it.
And make it about your audience. Make it about a struggle they're having. Tell a story about someone who used the freebie and they got a result from it. Like share what it's going to help them do today. You don't have to always be talking about yourself. You're not going to be saying, I made this freebie and I'm so great because I like try not to use I very much in your content. Use you and tell stories about people who've used your freebie and things like that.
Yeah, you want to be able to serve your audience. And so being able to talk to them directly and not making it about you is the key here.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. These are really great tips that you've shared. And I know like the audience that's listening, they're going to take so much away from this conversation that we're having today. And I have one last question for you before we end this episode. So, if a listener could take just one action after this episode to start seeing client momentum and putting out their freebie, what would you suggest?
Ooh. So if they could take only one action to start seeing client momentum, well, I think the first thing everyone should do is reflect on if I had to get a client tomorrow or I was going to be fined $2 million, what would I do? Because the chances are your brain's going to come up with a really obvious idea that you haven't been doing just because maybe it's a little scary. Maybe it hasn't been as urgent as that question was. So, what most of my clients do is start with a referral program where they offer something to past clients or current clients if they know someone who wants a free call and to connect with them. And if they become a client, there's some kind of referral incentive. So, that's one idea. But really just reflect on what also where have I gotten all my clients in the past, or practice clients, or indicated, like, even if you haven't had a client yet, has there been anything that's indicated maybe it could work? And start there and do more of that or do it better before doing a new shiny object that you've never tried before.
Oh yeah. The key about the shiny object. Don't start listening to everything and trying everything all at once, but knowing what already works and what's indicative of that is really key. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I know you have a lot of things that you're working on right now, and I'm sure you have stuff to share to the audience as well. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So you can always check out the Health Coach Nation podcast because we have episodes Wednesdays and Fridays all about marketing, sales, time management, and mindset. But I also have a freebie because we're talking about freebies. So the freebie is from crickets to clients, and it's taking you through what does a funnel entail? What are the sections you move through to nurture a stranger to a client? And it's available at haileyrowe.com/live event, all one word. And then I'm on Instagram at Hailey_Rowe, and my website is Hailey Rowe.
Awesome. So thank you so much for your time, Hailey. You're awesome. You offered so much to the audience today, and I'm grateful to have you as a guest. So be sure to check out Hailey's resources and connect with her to dive even deeper into building all of these different client attracting funnels and like learning how to create a good lead magnet based on what we talked about. But I appreciate you. And as always, if you enjoyed this episode and you found value in it, it would mean the world to us if you could just leave us a review or share us a voice note. And we're always eager to hear your feedback. So thank you so much.
Thank you.